Season's greetings. Hey, these locks make me happy, especially now that they've filled out. Like what I had before was very sparse and scalpy, but this has filled out nicely. I feel like my new line when I start these videos will either be something to do with my skin, which, by the way, is glowing. My therapist. My therapist, Ruby Miseda of Jipende Wellness. French kiss. This is why. Very many we're eating pistachios, salted and roasted. Don't come at me with, oh, they have too much salt. I have not eaten enough today. Sure. No, I can't do this. I can do this for a few minutes, and then every time I say a few minutes, it ends up being like 50 minutes. So that can mean one of many things. I like the sound of my own voice. I have a lot to say. I'm manifesting for when I'll be a lecturer standing in front of people, oozing with knowledge and wisdom. I am feeling myself today. This is why. Child's school fees is paid. Other child. Let me tell you about my other child. My 10-year-old. Let me calm down. My 10-year-old and I haven't spoken in a while. I'm co-parenting with the mom. The mom is the sister I never had. Like, I know I have friends. I say that a lot. I say that a lot about my female friends because my female friends are my sisters. My family of origin is challenging at best. And I'm going to give my people their flowers. I have a pretty decent family for an African family. This is me literally looking for redeeming qualities. And yes, my mother did, like, I'm saying this and I can't even say it with a straight face. My mother did the best that she could with what she had. It was not enough. It's taken me a long time to actually say that. So today I had a therapy session, but fast because my baby is on my whiteboard. Tina is on my whiteboard. I want to tell you what this child told me tonight because it made me so happy. This 10-year-old hears that me and her mom are gisting on the phone, right? She cannot help herself. She's like, Auntie, is that Auntie? Is that Auntie Sharon? And she's like, I want to talk to her. I want to talk to her. And of course, she's just tugging at my hamstrings. If you're a mom, if you're an auntie, if you're a mom through auntying, you know what that feels like. That child that you absolutely love, your redeeming grace, that child who pulled you out of the darkest depths of Hades, that child. For me, it's not one. There are a couple of them, but this one is very special to me because I actually would wake up and see her in the morning and interact with her in the morning. And I see a lot of myself in her. I see a lot of myself as a younger child in her. So mothering her feels like inner child work. Even my therapist is convinced I want children. And I keep telling her, Madam, it's okay to be a mom the African way. Like, see lazima nizae. I really don't have to push out a baby. And I'm not even worried about my hoo-ha expanding. I don't believe I was created for male entertainment. I could care less what a man has to say about my body parts. Honestly. And I wasn't always like this. Like, I had serious self-esteem issues. The boys liked other girls better than they liked me because I was always a tomboy. And I'm so glad I was given the gift of being a plain Jane and average Joe growing up. My other friends who had the boobs and the hips and the hair and the pretty girl privilege, I don't want to be them. I did when I was younger. I did want to be them. I mean, you're a teenager and like, if even your guy friends think your chick friend is hot, like, it makes you feel some type of way. But then you grow up, you go through the self-hating phase, you go through the, unfortunately, trigger warning, self-harm phase. And for me, it was a phase. Now, disclaimer, not for everyone. I have addictive tendencies, so I've usually phased in and out of things. So when I was going through a lot of emotional pain, I harmed myself to numb the pain, and then, which by the way should tell Black moms, yeah, your daughters are harming themselves. They're different forms. I'm not going to mention them because I do not want to repeat. You can see I'm even triggered, right? Like, I don't want to repeat certain things to enable the thing or to encourage it, because sometimes hearing it triggers someone to want to find it out for themselves. But yeah, which is why I have a book here on self-harm, which I'm reading, and why I loved the book Legacy. I've not yet read it, but I've gone through like the table of contents and just skimmed here and there. I'm one of those people who's like, this is the equivalent of getting an Oreo and snapping it in half, like dividing it in half, and then not dividing, that's actually cutting, like when you pull it apart and then you eat the creamy bit and then you eat the biscuit later. This is my version of that. Like, any African child, actually anyone who likes Oreos knows what I mean. There's a pistachio skin that's dancing in my throat. So in case I start coughing violently, that's what's happening. Also, my housemate is around, so I'm fine, which is why I also decided not to talk and inhale deeply while, yeah, that's a choking hazard. Did a bit of first aid type things. Anyway, so, you know what has just hit me? I forgot to let someone know, a good friend of mine, that I'll be offline recording this so that they don't panic when they try and call me at around this time, because we're supposed to talk. Let me see how we can play this. Okay, wait, I have some time, so I will be forced by circumstances to make this a short, very short conversation. It feels like we are talking. ADHD is 7 minutes into the video. You don't know what this is about, but stay with me. Most of you are still sticking around to listen to my nonsense, so thank you. It's not all nonsense, but hey, some of it is just colorful noise, which is fine. Life is colorful noise. So my daughter Tina takes the phone from her mom and goes like, "Auntie, I want some chocolate." No, she didn't start with the chocolate. She asked me a bunch of questions like how I have been. I love daughters for being like that. And when I am coming to see her, and like, what's the plan? Like, when am I seeing you? Because it's not Christmas, it's not. So when? And I've been pushing this from July, because, like, remember, I missed my flight in July. If you don't remember, it's somewhere in one of those 63 videos that I have done so far. I think there's 63, I'm not sure, but anyway, you'll end up want to go check. Then she asks me, amongst many questions about myself, and she's such an introspective child, it's wild. So, of course, she's adultified. She's been raised by a single mom, and it does come with some adultification. So anyways, she asks me, and she's very intuitive. So she asks me how I am, and then she asks me a bunch of questions, and then we talk about heroes and who is your hero. And that came later. First, she asks me if I know places where she can go fencing. And I'm like, excuse me? I'm like, fencing? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, what? How do you know about fencing? And she's like, yeah, I want to learn, like, if there are there places that you know where I can go. And I'm like, Tina, when did you get so fancy? And she bursts out laughing. She's like, well, I know some things. And then she goes on this whole thing, like how it's almost like she's offended that I am surprised that she knows what fencing is at the tender age of 10. And I'm like, I don't recall being a 10-year-old who knew what fencing was. And my grandfather went to London and came back with the London mannerisms. But I digress. I also asked her what cartoons she's watching. And I love that she's a girl who wants to fence. So she tells me, and I'm like, look, there are lots of fancy schools in Nairobi. I'm sure there's a place. I guess I'll find out. So imagine now I have homework. My other daughter wants a bicycle. I don't even have a job yet, but I'm feeling the pressure. Anyway. And the thing with daughters, by the way, if the thing doesn't come immediately, they're like, it's okay. Because I told them I'm looking for bus fare. Well, airfare. Because she told her mom, when are you getting a plane so I can go see Auntie Sharon? Or when are you bringing her? Like, to her, the women in her life fix. So she's like, where is Auntie Sharon? Are you getting a plane or is she getting the plane? So that either way, I want to see her. So we had to have a conversation with a 6-year-old. Rahma makes me so happy. Oh, is she 7 now? Oh gosh. I'm losing my train of thought, but fencing. I have barely recovered from fencing. Barely had I recovered when she's like, I ask her, so do you like any sports? Like, I mean, I don't know what fencing is classed as. I'm like, are you into like gymnastics, anything with a ball? She's like, yeah, I like tennis. I'd like to, I'm like, you'd like to try tennis? Like, I'm thinking, I'll send her a football. She'll kick it around with some kids in the compound. She'll be fine. No, tennis. You know what tennis comes with, a tennis court and a racket and all these things. And I'm just sat here thinking, oh God. And then the mother of them all, she's like, yeah, I really like tennis. I told her, well, I liked basketball in high school. So, I mean, I still like basketball, but right now I am currently very interested in volleyball because of a certain volleyball player who plays for the Turkish team. And before I even mentioned the name of this person, she's like, oh yeah, that's nice. I also like basketball, but I think I'd also want to try figure skating. So now I know the cartoons she's watching, because I remember I used to try and screen what she was watching on TV. And I remember telling her mom, look, I don't like this fairy tale dust nonsense. I don't want her to think magic is an alternative to reality. And I also don't want her to live in this fantasy world where all the girls are in big white dresses with pink and wings, and just doesn't do it for me. Let her watch anything else. In fact, let her watch Bob the Builder. I don't know why it's Bob and not, I don't know, Brianna or Beyonce. But so I was hoping she'd get interested in like engineering type things. Like our daughter Rahma is into art and she likes makeup and stuff like that. And her mom is a doctor. So like there was this point of stress where we were like, we were really hoping she'd want medicine because she wants to be like her mom, but she's an artist. And you know what we decided? Let her be. Let her choose what she wants to do. Because my own mom reminded me at some point that, Sharon, you wanted to be everything. And I let you. Like, you wanted to be a model because I was tall and lanky. And I guess I probably heard it from people. And I had this big wild hair that could not be tamed. And then I wanted to be a journalist. That one is still in my spirit. I wanted to channel Christiana Manpo. And every time I listen to Chimamanda speak, I'm like, that's going to be me. That's good. I have done the public reading and the spoken word art. So I've sort of half lived my dream, and I was in journalism club in high school. I guess we've lived some of the dreams. And I have been on TV. I forgot I'd been on TV. And apparently I interviewed really well. So yeah, so well, so that anyway, don't want to delve into that tonight because it involves bringing up my ex and I don't want to, but let me. His sisters were very keen on helping me like start my own practice. And unhealed woman that I was, who did not know how to receive love, I panicked and I was like, shut it down, tell them I'm not interested, it's fine. I didn't want to be indebted to them. In hindsight, I wish I had just said yes. But also, did I want to be indebted that way? I would have probably gotten married out of, I feel like I owe them more than just love. Because that's how money confuses us as women, right? Oh yeah, which is why I don't like men spending on me until we've really gotten to know each other and we are dating seriously for a certain period of time. If we're officially dating, cool. But to this day, even when I'm involved with someone, when I've been involved with someone, like I'm like, no, we are not exchanging. Like, you're not getting me gifts, you're not buying me anything. I can give you a gift, which is interesting, but it has to be very reciprocal. It has to be almost. And I can hear Slumflower literally shaming me right now and telling me bill splitter. Yeah, I'm one of those bill splitters. Because in my country, the lived reality is that sometimes if you don't split a bill with a man, he comes after you. So I'd rather stay alive so that he doesn't feel like, that entitlement that comes with men who feel like they can kill you because they spent a certain amount of money on you. I digress. So my child has made me very happy. Eventually, she asked for chocolate syrup, the blue one. So glad it's blue and not pink, because her favorite color used to be red. I like that it's now, she's mentioning other colors, so blue and brown. And then I'll send omega-3 and some multivitamins so that she doesn't catch a cold or sore throat, because she doesn't like sugar. She's one of those kids who you give her something that's really, really sweet and she's like, this is too sweet for me. Like, she's one of those kids who goes to birthday parties and she's like, too much sugar. As a nutritionist, that makes my heart well up with joy, because it means that she's just gotten her taste buds used to eating actual natural food to a point where anything artificial just tastes like that, artificial and foreign to her. So it can be done. These things are not hereditary. They're learned behaviors. Speaking of learned behavior, why I am posting this? Oh, and I said I was going to only take 20 minutes. Let's take an extra few. Yeah, let's actually see if I can squeeze this into 6 minutes. So I had a conversation with someone this morning. I was supposed to start with devotion, but I've been going through this phase with God lately where I'm like sort of annoyed with him, and I talk to him, but I don't talk to him as a way of trying to get favors from him. I kind of still do, but I don't. I don't know if any Christian, any religious person understands. Like, there are times when you pray and you pray and you pray for something, a miracle, whatever, the sky to part, the Red Sea to part, and then the thing doesn't happen. You tell God, stop the rain so that I'm not drenched, because this will be a second day I'm getting drenched, and then in a row, and then he still lets the rain fall anyway, hard. And you're like, you know what? Do you? I'm tired. So that's where I'm at with God right now. Not necessarily because like things have been all bad, but some of it has to do with the fact that I actually did need a snack. I hadn't eaten enough. I was tired. I didn't sleep enough. My sleep has been trash this past few weeks. We can say weeks because it's been weeks since daylight savings. And then I had a patient who I was just stressed out about for like 3 nights straight, trying to find solutions because just so much was happening there, and I can't disclose any more details. But and she wasn't the only patient I was worried about, because there's another one I was trying to get in touch with and I couldn't. And then finally I hear back, and then it's good feedback, and I'm like, why the heck did you guys just not pick the phone and call or answer when I asked questions on text? Anyway, happens. Because life happens and I need to stop taking things so personally. It's just I care very, very deeply for my patients. What else? What else happened? Yeah, so when I had the conversation with this person this morning, it's someone I haven't chatted with in a while, but when we chat, we have this deep, inside the soul, touching my essence type conversations, right? Of course, it's a woman. And we align on very many levels, like values, etc. She's a feminist, I'm a feminist. And she told me, Sharon, you have to talk about this. And I told her, I'm going home to record it. So I came home with my whiteboard, my newly acquired whiteboard. By acquired, I mean this is its second home. Because I'm very thrifty, by the way. When I wanted to buy a whiteboard, and then I told one person, and then that person has been communicating like a doorknob. And then I felt RSD kicking in, rejection sensitivity, where I was like, oh wait, I think this person is just cannot be bothered with me right now, because they used to make the time. And by the way, I don't mind people just deciding that I'm not for them. I have no problem when I tell people I'm not jollof rice. I can't make people happy. I can't make everyone happy. I promise you, I mean it. If you decide like I used to like Sharon and I don't like her anymore, imagine, it's fine. Especially if you're a guy. If you're a woman, it will pain me. If you're a woman and we used to be friends, it will pain me. It will pain me to my core. But if you're a man, I'm like, men change their minds. Women do. Not so much over friendships that are like deep and well-meaning, but I'm also able to, like when I was grieving the end of a friendship, go back and go like, yeah, I think I exhausted this person. I think I was their personal project for a long time, and maybe they didn't have the words to articulate that they were just done helping me figure out my stuff, and they had no more capacity. And you know what? They're allowed to want out of this friendship because it's taken more from them than it's given them, is what I'm telling myself. And some of you may be sat there thinking, guy, Sharon, that's a bit, I don't know, how did you come to this conclusion? I believe people, and I'm learning this from someone, I believe people when they show me who they are. more than when they say it. I recently needed money for something. It's the first time I've needed money for an emergency in years. Years. Like in my adult life, I've probably borrowed money twice. And so this was one of them. Maybe thrice. Just let's put that there just in case. This one I've forgotten about. But it's, for me, it's soul crushing to need money from someone, because I once found myself in a situation where I needed money, and that money was not going to come from my mom. And I swore to my 20-something-year-old self, I will never need money from a person that I can't get for myself, which is why I obsessed over having savings. I obsessed over having multiple income streams. I obsessed over starting a business. I failed at business, but I was willing to try again because I was like, I will never again need money that I don't have. So in my 20s, by the time I was 25, I had money. I had an emergency fund on my phone. I had money in the bank, and in case the bank collapsed, I had money. Like I always had like money hidden somewhere, so that even when I was hijacked in 2013 and they took a bunch of money from me, I didn't even remember. I had more money in the drawer at my workplace. This will make you think I was earning six figures. The most I've earned in Kenya is like 45,000 shillings after tax. Well, 46,600 and change. But yeah. And my second job was like 40K. My first job was 25K because I was a receptionist, come everything else that was required of me, which is a horrible, horrible line that appears in people's contracts when they want you to be a unicorn employee, which is you can fix everything. We look at your skill set. We see, you can do video editing, and you can also be a receptionist, and you've also been a manager, and you've also managed a team. We'll hire you so that we don't hire 4 different people, and then we'll pay you the salary of one person or 1.5 people, the half bit just being that extra motivation in these hard economic times to stay at the job, right? Sound familiar? Yes. Question your employment choices for 2025, because if you're tired of how things have been in 2024 and 23 and 22, they only change when you decide they're going to change. And sometimes having an exit strategy is just having a whiteboard that says, by end of 2025, I've left this job. And then how do I leave? This is a strategy. In the first quarter, I go for this training that gives me this certification. In the second quarter, I go for this 6-month course that I started in the first quarter alongside that training. So by month 6, June, July, when I am filing my tax returns to KRA, Kenya Revenue Authority, for the non-Kenyans, because apparently I have non-Kenyans watching this. Yes. Yeah, by the 6th month, this is the course I'll have done for 6 months, and I'll have finished it. Then by month 9, then by the end of the year, that way. Worst case scenario, you're applying for your dream job with all the qualifications and you don't get it. You still have the qualifications. You can't be unqualified now. Meaning, even if you're getting into 2026 applying, you're getting into 2026 applying with qualifications and an extra year of work experience. So you're not where you were end of 2024, beginning of 2025. You hear me? You feel me? That's not the thing I was supposed to be telling you guys about, and I have all of, I don't know how many minutes, but this is the thing I want to tell you. We're heading into the end of the year. We have so many dreams. We have so many plans. I hate watching people get stuck in this space where they say, new year, new me, new year, new body, etc. And then they sign on to the health program, they join the gym, they pay the membership fee, and then they go for all of 2 to 3 to 4 weeks before they fall off. And then they don't just fall off, they fall off, and then we do this again in November. Or they fall off and they get back on in June because, gosh, it's 6-month reminder that I need to do the thing. This is why I tell people to invest in a coach. Because what we are supposed to do is basically hold space for you. We don't tell you what your goals are. You come to us with goals. Like if someone came to me and they were like, yeah, I just need to see a nutritionist, and I asked them why, and they're like, I don't know, I just want to be healthy. And I'm like, what does healthy mean to you? And you don't have a straight answer. Imagine I'm not signing you up, because we'll be wasting each other's time. And time, I don't take my time being wasted very kindly anymore, because I have put in a lot of work on myself in training as a coach, as a health coach, as a nutritionist, as a person involved in mental health work, as a listener of people's problems, as a problem solver, as a team leader, as I've invested even in my relationships with friends, which is why their friends have cut off. Their people have told this isn't working. Their people have actually told we are not getting into 2025 together. And I know how that sounds. It's just I used to be the type of person who'd ghost you. And to some degree, I still am. If I tell you something repeatedly and you don't listen and you disrespect my boundaries, I will block you. Unapologetically, I will actually block you and then go to sleep. In fact, that night I'll probably sleep better, because there'll be like no weight over my shoulders of the burden that is having to keep telling you, don't do this and you do it, or do this and you don't talk to me like this, don't yell, just things that I just cannot stomach. And I won't even explain to you why yelling is bad for me. Like, oh, why you yelled at us? No, you just don't yell. If you have anything to say, just say it to the level tone. I just want what I want, and I'm communicating what my rules of engagement are. And apparently, rules of engagement and rules are different from boundaries. But for me, it's don't raise your voice, don't be disrespectful. If you're disrespectful, which is AKA unaniongelesha matope, like you just talk to me like talking to mud. I literally said it translated directly, but it doesn't sound as nice in English. But yeah, if you treat me disrespectfully, I'm out. If you don't honor my time, I'm out. And this is a new one. Someone actually challenged me, my therapist included, and the other person I spoke with. Let's not make space in 2025 for people who can go for therapy, choose not to, and then use friends as therapists. Especially when your work involves mental health advocacy, and these are things that you do in your professional space or you get paid for. For instance, I noticed I was using a friend as a therapist, and I called myself out and I told them, I've been leaning on you a little too heavily for XYZ, which is why there's a service that they were rendering, and we had an exchange program, and I told them to compensate for that, no more, because now it's going to be on a fee basis, so that I know I'm either paying you to do this for me as a mental health advocate or as a mental health coach, or I am paying my therapist so that we keep the friendship. There are friends and family members I've told, I can't be your coach. Either we are too close, or I don't feel like I am helping you as much as someone else could. And there are people who will feel some type of way, but then you're allowed to feel your feelings. But I've made my point. You're allowed to not want to talk to me for 2 weeks and go like, man, that triggered my abandoned child, my inner abandoned child, or my abandonment issues, or it triggered my rejection sensitivity dysphoria, which is why even when I phrase it, I don't sound like this. I'm actually nice. We'll have a face-to-face, we'll talk. I'll be anxious. And by the way, I am genuinely anxious when I'm telling someone something like this. I have prepped, I have a script. My God, it's a lot. Which is why by the time it's finally coming out, I think that's why I sleep. Like, I'm like, man, weight off my shoulders. But boundary setting is not easy, especially for those of us who have grown up with a savior complex. We are the firefighters of the family. We're the ones who fix people's issues. We're the good listeners. It's okay to also tell someone, babe, I don't have the capacity today. Someone also used to tell me like, yeah, those are too many links you're sending me. And I know you mean well. It's just they're overwhelming when I open my chat and I see 6 different links. Does that mean I will also really self-regulate around you? Yes. But you see, that's now for me to deal with. It's just actions have consequences. If you told me I don't want 12 links, I will not send you 12 links. And then I will also start asking myself, am I overwhelming people with the links I send them? And that's probably a good thing, because not very many people will actually have the gall, stomach, guts, balls to tell you. This is not the thing I was supposed to be posting about, but since it's already been 30 minutes, I am going to leave it at that for now. And then I will come back refreshed after eating pistachios and hydrating it. No, we're not hydrating anymore. It's already past 9:30 p.m. We need to sleep at some point within the next 2 hours or 3. I'll come back and we will talk about women girl type issues. My daughter is done with her exams. My older one. She's done with exams. Do you know how nice it feels to be able to pay school fees and then your child finishes exams? And then they send you an exam card and you're like, winning as a parent. And then you go and you do a gig and you finish, and then the money that you had taken out to do the gig has paid for the thing. So now you're starting a new week debt free. Well, I'm not entirely debt free. I still have to pay off about 115 euros at the end of the month, but it's fine. I have a few gigs lined up between now and the new year. I thought I was going to go visit my aunt for the holidays, but there's work, and she understands. Choose the people who get you and support you. It makes a huge difference in your life. And don't wait until January. Start now during the holidays. If you don't feel like going for that family gathering that is triggering, where they discuss the weight you've not lost, or the acne that hasn't gone, or the children you have not birthed, imagine, don't go. Stay home, drink your Coca-Cola, and make your chicken and your pilau. You'll be much happier for it. And kachumbari without onions, because now no one is telling you, but kachumbari is not the same without onions. I'm saying that because I'm not a huge fan of onions that are raw. My mom loves them. And so when I'm channeling my inner child with attitude, I'm usually speaking to the things that my mother likes, because it's a sort of rebellious thing. Fun fact. Stay happy and healthy. Someone tell Dr. Mike that I'm a huge fan of that phrase. It's not mine, but I've borrowed it and I don't think he'd mind. Ciao!